All right. We'll start with the peace chants. Let's do that. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitam Astu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Om, may the all-pervading spirit protect us. May the all-pervading spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be illuminating. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. So as all of us know, we are in Katha Upanishad and discussing different aspects of an unique idea. Unique in the sense we don't get this idea so clearly in other Upanishads. The idea is the choice between Priya and Shreya, choice between which is pleasant and choice between which is good. So two verses. Let's start with the verses again, okay, so that the whole picture remains in the horizon. Annat Shreya, Annat Utaeva Preyaha, Te Ubhe Nanarthe Purusham Sinitaha, Tayoho Shreyaha Adadanasva Sadhuhu Bhavati, Hiyate Arthat Yaha U Preyaha Brinite. One is indeed the good, and another is the merely pleasant. These two, with different purposes, bind human beings. Of them, one who chooses the good becomes noble. One who chooses the pleasant loses the true goal of life. Second one is Shreyascha Preyascha Manussametau Tau Sampaditya Vivinapti Dhiraha Shreyo hi Dhiraha Abhi Preyasaha Vrinitaha Preyoho Mandaha Yoga Shemat Vrinite. The good and the pleasant approach the human being. The wise person, having examined both, distinguishes between them. Indeed, the wise chooses the good over what seems attractive, but the unwise chooses the pleasant out of attachment to security and possessions. All right, so let's delve into them. And before that, a recap of what is good and what is pleasant. Go ahead, please. Quiz. We are doing recap fast. So what is the Shreya and what is the prayer? You have to unmute, huh? Please. You have to unmute yourself, then yes.
Shreya is the good and Preya is the pleasant.
Yeah.
You're asking the definition or the...
Yes, and true. And what kind of pleasant? Only all type of pleasant things are prayer?
That's a good question.
That we dealt with in the class before the previous.
Pleasant to the senses.
Pleasant to the senses. Well, what did you discuss here? Can anyone recall?
Pleasant things that bind us.
Yes,
That bind
pleasant.
us. The
Yeah.
binding pleasant.
So of course, one thing is senses, but many things which are pleasant to the senses don't bind us. For example, as we said, going to the nature, it is pleasant to the senses. Ultimately, it pleases our eyes, it pleases our ears. We hear chirping of the birds, but it is not prayer as such. We have to remember this. Prayer is those which bind us for the future. In a way, of course, Arundhati is right. In a way, what Buddha said or what Patanjali says, everything that pleases us actually binds us. Okay. In a way, everything that pleases us are binding us. But even within that context, within our day-to-day life context, in that case, everything will be prayer. And we have to then think about that, well, everything that is pleasant, I should forsake. That is not what uh, right now, for most of us, it is not recommended. So prayer means only those pleasures which bind us and which stops our spiritual growth, stops our moral growth. Yes. I would love to give one definition here. It is very this definition is a very good thermostat. The difference between, I heard somewhere, difference between addiction and liberation, or addiction and illumination. What is the difference? So in addiction, what happens? We get pleasures out of only a very limited set of things. Okay, so those who are addicted to substance or anything, other things don't, fascinate them. They get joy only out of this. And the more we are into the path of addiction to something, the more and more we will see that joys, even legitimate joys from other sources, are no longer joyful to us. This is the rule of addiction. To become even normal, forget about joy. To remain in a normal operative mood, to be out of bad mood, we need more and more of the same substance. This is addiction, okay? And illumination, if you look at all the illumined people, having more and more sources of joy, progressive sources of joy, like they can be joyous with nature, with people, with themselves alone. When nobody alone, they are happy. They can be happy with others. They can be happy with any activity they are doing. Okay, so this is the difference between illumination and addiction. So why I said all of these is, we need not think at our present state that anything that is pleasant we should forsake, or we should not feel guilty about it. Okay, those which are narrowing us down, those pleasures which are narrowing us down day by day, making us restricted, making us feeling that we are more and more limited to identities or limited to only certain kind of activities, these we should think about prayer. Okay, and shreya is, which is good, ultimately good. Even here we have to remember, it is not, shreya is not the ultimate good. Ultimate good is nishreyasha. Okay, nishreyasha means total liberation, freedom, and it is possible for everybody. Okay, so shreya is better than prayer, but shreya is not the goal. Good life may be the goal of psychology and Western philosophy, but good life is not enough for us. And it's a fact that only good life is not enough. We can even go beyond the good life. Okay, that is Nishreyasa. Nishreyasa means, which is Shreyas, but Nihi. Means after this, there is no better good. That's why we should remember this whole topography. Prayer, the pleasant, Shreya, the good, and Nishreyasa, the ultimate good. Because it is, first of all, this topography, we have to remember that it is not that these are progressive stages. We can live a life of Shreya only if we can go beyond prayer. And we also should not think that life of Nishreyas is only possible when you have gone beyond Shreya and prayer. This is the important thing what I am telling. Okay, we can live in all these three levels in our day-to-day life. All these three levels of life. Now, the more we progress in our spiritual life, we shall see that more joy we get in life based on Shreya, a good life, an ethical life, a disciplined life. And at the same time, we can spend more and more time in that boundless awareness, that unrestricted awareness that we are, open awareness. And gradually, we can go beyond even the good life and stay longer and longer in that life of open awareness. Okay, this is the whole picture that we should remember. This is secret to spiritual life. Okay, if we remember this picture, the prayers, shreyas, and nishreyas, many more questions, many more doubts, and many more conflicts can be resolved. This topography is helpful to understand the Upanishad itself. The Upanishad said, both bind. Prayer also bind, Shreyas also bind. How do we know prayer bind, right? Prayer binds by making us attached to the enjoyments. And we seek again. Some of these seeking are not that problematic. For example, you can award yourself a chocolate fudge once in a while, chocolate fudge, or say anything, your choices dessert once in a while. And again, you will feel like after some time, that is a bondage anyway. But we are not talking about those subtle bondage yet. Okay. Patanjali says, sarvam dukkham vivekinam. For a viveki, a discerning soul, everything is suffering. Why? Suffering is suffering, that we understand everybody. What we see in the world, the news, what we get, our present experiences with people, other people, our neighbors, all can be problematic, sufferings. That is, we all understand. Our health may give us trouble. This is suffering. But Vivekinam sarvam dukkham. He says why? Viveki sees that which is joy apparently, that also creates even not even maybe a loud, but still some desire, creates a desire to eat it again, see it again, experience it again. In that sense, it is also creating a bondage. Every joy, every happiness we are experiencing, unknowingly, they are making us, goading us to experience it again. In that sense, it is a bondage. He gives an example, Vyasa. Vyasa in the commentary gives an example that uh, a cobweb is not that strong, right? But if you put a cobweb into your eyeball, you will feel it is hurting you, how strong it is. Compared to the eyeball, a cobweb is strong. It is hurting even the eyeball. Similarly, for a Viveki whose mind has become very refined, very cultured, they can see apparent suffering in the joys also, so-called joys also. So this is something important, that in this whole world, nothing is absolutely good. Nothing is absolutely good, nothing. And the quicker we get rid of the idea that anything can be absolutely good, better for us. This leads us to the second thing, how Shreya binds, how even a good life binds. You remember how a good life binds? Good life is meaning a life of discipline, life of charity, a life of a higher values. But they can also bind us. How? That many charitable people can get bound by the idea that let people know how much charitable I am. Okay. And they feel proud to be so charitable. Then people who are following a particular spiritual path, it is good to think that this path is good for me. But when we get frozen with the idea that this is the only path, that Shreya becomes a bondage. A particular spiritual teacher or guru, yes, they were necessary in our path, in our spiritual life. But when we got attached to that personality and think that we have to see the world through their eyes alone, we get stuck. We get stuck. That's a bondage. Then living a life of ethics, a life of goodness, also can make us proud, like what a good life I am leading. A kind of vanity, a very subtle vanity, which spiritual aspirants suffer rampantly, that holier than thou, this thing, that I have understood what is spirituality and I am trying to live up to this. Others are not. Others are not, so it is my duty to correct others how they should lead their spiritual life. And I am not so much interested into making my life more attuned to spiritual values, but I assume that if I could tell others what real spirituality is, okay, and how advanced I am compared to others, these are all bondages of Shreya. And these bondages are more problematic than the bondage of the good, the bondages of pleasure, because we don't even know, we don't even recognize that these are problems. Okay. So that's why we think we are doing fine and everything is fine with me. I am making, spiritual progress, but maybe I am not still living up to my full spiritual potential. So the Upanishad says both approach a person, both, and both say, what is the word Upanishad said? Both bind, sinati. Okay, both bind. Then what was the point? Point was, but among, although both are binding, those who choose the Shreya, the path of good, sadhu bhavati, their life becomes noble, okay? Surely, living a life of goodness, life of ethics, definitely is the step towards a higher life, right? There's no doubt about that. And from the standpoint of the society, good life is needed for all the citizens, right? A society can thrive only if most of its members are aspiring to live a life of goodness, life of ethics, life of morality. So a life of character and strength. But those who choose only the pleasant, the pleasures, their life, mando bhavati. Mando bhavati is interesting. Does anybody remember how we should interpret this word? Those who choose the pleasant, their life is wasted. How should we interpret it? In our last class.
They
Yeah.
miss the goal of life,
Yeah, they
purpose
miss
of
the
life.
goal of life. Yes, absolutely. And underutilized, a life underutilized. The life that could have been lived for such a other higher and higher values and higher and higher purpose was wasted only in pleasure. Remember, Isha Upanishad said, Andham asurya namate lokan andheno tamasabritaha. So these are people who live like in a world which is dark, dark in the sense that light of spirituality, light of morality, light of virtue and dharmas could not reach them. In that sense, their life is wasted. And the example, can you bring the example I gave? Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Okay, such a good person. Although he was not given to a life of prayer, we should remember pleasure, but still he was giving, uh, aspiring for a life of Shreya, values. But Sri Ramakrishna met and said that such a wonderful aspirant, seeker, ready, such a spiritually fit person, and but could not ever know that there is gold inside, gold hidden inside. So it is underutilization of the life. Even for a life which is dedicated to moral values, that is also an underutilization according to Sri Ramakrishna. Okay. And what to speak about life which is totally given to materialism and short-term profit, short-term gain. For example, those who are in social media, you might have seen that over the last 5 years or so, um, a value which was universally respected, politeness, civic qualities, has been eroded. Now, the goal of social media, or for that matter, any news media, is be rough, offensive, be purposefully offensive, means start with offensiveness. You don't have to be offensive for any reason, and this is also shaping the characters of the latest generations. So politeness is no more people cannot say with 100% confidence politeness is a virtue now. They will be thinking, is politeness really a virtue? Our generation will still say that, but many those who are most into social media a lot, and the new generations are in conflict whether being polite really matters. Because if we become offensive and can win a debate on social media, and that is a short-term gain. Okay, we are forgetting the long-term gain of being polite. And social media and all of these always incentivize the short-term gain. Okay, so those who choose prayer, this is choosing prayer, that win an argument over social media will give me a high. This is choosing prayer, the pleasant, over Shreya, which is what is Shreya? To be polite, to engage politely, respectfully with others. Okay. So we see now that new type of materialism. The materialism is that win the social media, win the popularity. So Upanishad says that those who choose the short-term gain over long-term gain, it's not that their life is doomed. No, but they misses out the what it means to be human, what it means to be a human being, that they miss out. And the second point was they approach us together. Shankaracharya says that they approach this good and bad intermixed, and there lies the biggest problem. If they would have come with level, look, this is coming in before us, it is pleasant. This is coming before us, this is good. But they don't come like that. Sometimes the dividing lines is very narrow. Very narrow. That's why both of them approach. And Shankara says that they approach together, mixed up together. And that's why Shankaracharya says in the next point, a wise person is like a swan who from the mixture of milk and water can drink the milk. Okay. But for many of us, we are not aware that there is water mixed up with the milk. That makes it more troublesome. Can you remember how they appear mixed up? In our last class, we gave one example.
How they appear mixed up.
Yeah. We feel that it is good, but actually it is not good. We feel there is yeah.
Are you talking about when conscientious people avoid situations just so that they don't have to deal with a dilemma?
No,
Okay.
not that one.
All right.
How they the approach are sometimes mixed up. These are really point to ponder over. Okay, this is what I am telling, that we should really pay attention to all of these, that how they sometimes get mixed up.
What about?
Sometimes, oh, sorry.
Yes.
Please go ahead. Please go
Yes.
ahead.
No, sometimes this the activities which comes under Shreya, that becomes that fuels our ego, as you said, that I am doing the charity, I am doing the spiritual practice, or leading a very holy life. These are the knots, that Hridaya Granthi which we saw in Mundaka Upanishad, which that mixture we may not be able to discriminate, that though I'm leading a holy life, but that ego is there in me.
Yes, it is a bondage. It's a bondage.
Bondage.
Ultimately bondage. Now, one concrete example I can give. Last Tuesday, I was doing worship in the shrine, and I could feel that there was someone just behind me and breathing heavily, and I could feel without even even without seeing, even without looking, that someone is in very much distress. Okay, so I did the puja, and then I saw a young gentleman and a white American young man, and he just was so appeared to be so much in as if he is going through a storm, a storm you can feel. So he said, can I pray here? I said, sure, you can pray here as long as you like. And then I cleaned up, I did a puja and everything, all the thing I cleaned up, and then I quit the shine, and I was coming towards my room, and this young man met me in the loggia and asked me, can I ask you something? I said, yes, please. He said, my best friend is in trouble, in extreme trouble, but I don't know what to do. I said, what's wrong? What's happened to him? So he said his best friend started, watching. Uh, I am not talking about the name of the religion. One particular religious leaders and discourses he was listening to, and gradually from that he went down a rabbit hole, and now he is, into the world of hatred and extreme ideas, and like very very dark ideas, violent ideas he is harboring. And not only that, he's he's also spreading all of this message to as many people as he can. Okay. So this young man asked me, what can I do? I said, look, no amount of logic will work here. Okay, you cannot argue with him. So you can ask only one question to your friend, that since you got introduced to all these ideas, have you gone mentally better or worse? Mentally, have you gone better or worse? This question you can ask him very gently, without being pushy about it. So this is a test for how Shreya also binds, or rather how they come mixed up. This young man was thinking that he is living a life of virtue and morality. Others are not. So what he thought, this life that he is leading now, preaching that religious ideas is the moral thing to do, is actually not a moral thing he was doing. Okay, so actually he got into the hold of the pleasure of remaining in that dark world. That is what he's enjoying. Actually, this is the definition of depression. If you ask the definition of depression, loving to live in a dark world. Even if you know that there is a way out, I don't want to come out. I love to remain in a dark world, in a depressed world, in a hopeless world. So this is the core feature of depression. Core feature of depression. So why I said all of this, that sometimes we may feel that we are responsible citizens of the country, and we should keep ourselves informed about all the things happening. That's good. But remember, I say everybody, follow the news. Don't get caught into the drama. Don't get caught into the drama, because news has now become a drama. And that's why outrageous news, outrageous, toxic news are being thrown at us every day, all the hour, all the breaking news. So we may think that it is our duty as citizen to follow all of these, but this is not a Shreya. Okay, yeah, it is not a path of Shreya. We should follow news, only those news which does not spread outrageous news. Do not present us in an outrageous way. Okay, being outrageous, we cannot do really anything. Even for changes, we have to work uh, with calm and with stability. Okay, so I'm sure none of us do it, but still I say, why even Shreya can we may be unable to we may fall into the trap that this is probably a life of good, this is the better life, an ideal life we are doing, but may not be ultimately. Okay, so this we should remember. Now, one important thing. So what does a wise person do? Wise person, as Shankara says, like a swan. A swan separates the milk from the water. So such a wise person separates the shreya from the priya, the pleasant and the good. They can separate it, and not only separate it, they can then they follow through. They choose the choose the shreya. Okay. One neighbor was walking by, and he saw his neighbor sitting on his chair in the front yard, and this neighbor asked him, I hope, or I think I heard the news that you are into dieting. This guy said, yes, for the last 3 months I have been dieting and reading all the books about dieting. Then this guy asked, then what about the double cheeseburger? Then this guy said, now I am only understanding dieting. Okay, I have not started practicing yet. So the point is, what a wise person does. Shankaracharya, this Upanishad says 3 steps: Samparitta, Vivinakti, and Shreyaha Vinite. So what a wise person does, first they Samparitya. Samparitya means they analyze the situation well. Analyze the situation. Okay, is it good? Or is it pleasant? Or is it none of them? Or is it even transcending both? This kind of analysis they do. How can we do this kind of analysis? What do you think? How can we do this kind of analysis? Yes. Please unmute and yes.
Remember, the goal of life is to find our higher self, and that these activities help us stay bound to a false self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So you know what? We do our analysis usually with our life experiences, right? So I mean, to do analysis, we need some tools. Okay. For analysis, we need some tools. One of the tools is our life experience. In our life, we might have taken some decision which appeared to be good, but turned out to be bad. From that, we learned. So life experience is one of the greatest tools which we can utilize to analyze. But the problem, what is the problem with life experience? What do you think the problem? That we cannot experience everything in our life. Okay. So our own life experience alone is not enough. We need other tools also, such as the Upanishad. The Upanishad. Okay. And also ideas or thoughts from wise people, those who have lived a life of wisdom and goodness and shining examples of spirituality. From them also we can learn how to analyze these things. Then after analyzing the situation, what they do, Vivinakti, they do the discernment that this is this and this is this. This mixed up things I should separate. For example, separate the news from the drama. Separate the news from the drama. Okay. And finally, chooses Shreya over Abhipriya. Those which are very much, pleasant or enticing. But if they are not ultimately good, then the wise goes with the Shreya. Okay, so our goal will be to analyze in this kind of conflicts whether it is really good for us or not, and separate them. Separation is needed, and this is important thing in every fact of life, or every domains of life. Uh, many things are mixed up. Many things are mixed up. Okay, and we need to understand in everything what is the good part and what is the bad part. What is the good part and what is the bad part? Okay. Um, this is very, very important. Then we shall see that we will not be so rigid about situations, rigid about even our ideologies. Okay. And but what the mandha, the unwise do, the foolish do, they chooses the pleasant over the good, Shankaracharya says such peoples are aduradarshi. That is, they are short-sighted, and they chooses the pleasant over the good, Why? Why people chooses pleasant? The Upanishad says, yoga shemat. Those who are interested into grammar, shemat is chaturthi or panchami. It means, panchami vibhakti means hetu, cause. Any word that ends in fifth case ending means that word means because of. Okay, yoga shemat. Because of yoga and shema, people choose the pleasant over the good. Now, what is yoga and what is shema? Literally, yoga means to acquire and shema means to preserve. So, to acquire more and more wealth, more real estate, all of these, more name, more fame. Because of this, we have a tendency to acquire more and more. And because of this, we choose the pleasant ones over which are the good. And not only to acquire new things, but also to preserve what we have. To preserve the things we have, we many a times choose the pleasant over the real good. To give the example, what it is telling, basically, we have a tendency of hoarding. We like to hoard. And sometimes we know how painful hoarding is. For example, I also I am also a hoarder in a sense. I get books, gifts. I know I will never use them, but I still keep somewhere. In future, if I need it, then every 6 months I see my room is running out of space. I have only one room. Okay, and I don't have a garage to use as my storeroom, or neither can I hire a external storage space. So every 6 months I put out a few garbage, trash, the trash bags, hoarding, shema. So I know it is not helping me, but still I hoard. And the result is, how maintaining them is problem. And also when I am parting with them, little bit of sentiment is attached with that. Okay, so that is why we always, otherwise, the shreya would be, get it and decide immediately whether I need it or not. Some of the things we have not used in 5 years, actually we'll never use. This is a rule of thumb, but we still keep them. Okay. So share would be to be little more minimalist with things I purchase, things I get, but I choose the prayer, the idle life. Let it be there. I will sort it out later, and maybe it will. Maybe, who knows? Maybe, what if I need such a thing? So these are yoga and shema. These acquiring new thing, and hoarding what we have is what make us choose the pleasant. But here there is a even subtle, hoarding that is more problematic. Okay, can you guess? Attempt. What do you think? What what do we want to preserve?
Our good opinion of ourselves based on our choices and actions of our little self.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
I wanted to say earlier, Swami, that people also do the pleasant because people suffer so much. And they
Mm,
want to, they're just trying to find relief. And I think that's a very important way that people get trapped in
mm.
pleasant things that aren't good for them because people just suffer so much.
Yeah,
And it's just, it makes sense that people are choosing things that aren't good for them, choosing the
yes,
pleasant just to escape.
yes. I get your point that to get relief from the suffering, people may choose pleasant things,
Mhm.
but actually they may not, the suffering does not go that way.
So are you thinking people's hoard a list of their own virtues? Is that what you're thinking?
No, no, I was thinking about holding on to our identities,
Well, yeah,
or
that's
pattern, even pattern, personality pattern. We know some of the patterns we have are not helping us, but we don't want to even break those patterns. We want to remain on those patterns. We want to remain, we want to retain those personality types, those traits, those habits, although they are not helping us. This is also shema. This is also hoarding, one kind of hoarding, kind of preservation. That is preserving ourselves. I am trying to preserve myself. Okay. I'm because I am thinking that I will be dead if these identities are gone. It is a fact. Why most of us cannot go into deep meditation? Because in the back of my mind, there is a fear. There is a fear that we may encounter the void, the formless void. That's why we are unable to, afraid to go to a deeper level of meditation. That indeed, if you go into a very deep meditation, very often you will get frightened that your ego is almost your ego death. And if something in you will tell you, stop the meditation right now, I don't want to go further, because you are about to lose your identity, self identity. But the point is, this self identity that we are trying to hold should go, should go, and if we let it go, we'll find that the void we were thinking that it will be black hole, which will suck all of me, actually a luminous reason, a very luminous region, a luminous region, it is not a black hole. It is very luminous, transparent, and non-conceptual. Non-conceptual. And that is we are afraid of. We are so used to concept about myself. All these identities that I am having, trying to save, is actually concept about myself. These are not so solid things, okay? But we are trying to preserve them. That is also shema. That is also a Shema, and that also binds us from the highest standpoint. Okay, that we should remember. So the gist of these two verses is that remember the three like three circles: a life of prayer, Shreya, and Nishreyasha. Okay, and we cannot just simply say that we don't need any of the prayers anymore, only Shreyas or only Nishreyas. No, 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 we cannot. We cannot. For most of us, frankly speaking, all of these should go hand in hand. But at the same time, we should be progressing toward more and more to a Shreya and Nishreyasha. The good life and ultimately the free life, the life of freedom, life of spontaneity. That should be our highest goal. Okay. But in our day-to-day life, what it means leading a life of Shreya, life of discipline. Life of Shreya means life of discipline. Okay, life of discipline. And when it comes to discipline, it boils down to the same thing, that can we exert our willpower for things which are enticing right now, but they are not good for long run. It boils down to right? This thing that I know this is not good, but this is enticing. What should I do about it? So willpower. So when it comes to willpower, as you know, Shreya and prayer, our idea had been the example had been the marshmallow test, right? Marshmallow test. Can anyone please summarize it?
If I recall, it was an experiment with small children,
Yeah.
and they put children in a room with marshmallows.
Yes.
And then they recorded which children were able to keep from eating the marshmallow and show self-control, and which couldn't and ate it right away. And then social scientists, somebody tracked their lives and found the children who showed that self-control early went farther in life. That's what I remember of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the children were given choice to take one marshmallow right now or wait and get two marshmallows. Okay. So the children, so they track the children that it is a thing of whether we can delay our gratification. So that comes down to, like whether can we control ourselves for some time. This is what we are talking about, that can we say no to the pleasant things and choose what is ultimately good for us. Okay, so this was the point. But guess what? Recently they found out that it is not only about the quality of delaying gratification. It is not that those children who could only delay gratification. No, not necessarily. They found out that rather this ability to control ourselves from enticement is part of a bigger, larger character type, that is conscientiousness. We call people conscientious people, and those who have this quality is called conscientious people, and the quality itself is called conscientiousness. So they found out consciousness is a product of many things. One is thinking about the future. Those who think about future, plan for future, or those who follow rules of the society, and those who work hard to achieve their goals. These are all part of the matrix called conscientiousness. I always have trouble. conscientiousness, right? Conscientiousness. Because, I used to call it conscientiousness, because spelling is like that. And recently I came to know, no, conscientious people. And then the quality, virtue is conscientiousness. Okay, conscientiousness. So they found out the secret of self-control is in the character trait called conscientiousness. And then what is conscientiousness? So some people are naturally more conscientious, but it can be also a virtue, like we can cultivate it. Okay. So for our sake, for our daily life of Shreya, life of discipline, what it means. So how can we lead a more conscientious life? Okay. So they say that one thing is how we raise our kids, and that's why they say that one value is underrated, conscientiousness, but uh, parents should try to raise conscientious kids. How to raise conscientious kids? They say authoritative parenting. Authoritative parenting means there will be warmth of love, as well as setting up boundaries. No, we don't allow. Why? And we should also explain why we don't do certain things, and why we are not supposed to do this. Okay, if we explain it and set the boundary, but at the same time we allow our children, they go on becoming conscientious people. But now we are not kids and we have no choice. We cannot say, raise us again as with authoritative parenting. And those of us who have got it, thankfully should be thankful, fortunate. But there are other ways. One is, as I said, try to avoid situations where there will be a dilemma. And they have found out that people who are seem to be those who are called, others call them people of self-control. They have found that paradoxically, these self-control people don't exercise much of their self-control. So they avoid such situations where they have to exercise their self-control if it can be avoided. Is the example I gave, that if you know that most of the parties go beyond schedule and crosses midnight, and then you had a dilemma: should I stay in the party or go back? I have to wake up early to do my things, my stuff. So they say people of self-control avoid such parties, or even if they go, they come back quite early, before 10, so that they don't go up to 12 and have a dilemma: should I or should I not? Okay, this is called paradox of self-control. Sometimes we can use it. We think ourselves very brave, that we can face any enticement or any this kind of temptation, and we can still win. But many times we can't. So better to avoid such situations where there may be a dilemma of between the pleasant and the good. Okay. And finally they say, try to follow the lifestyle of conscientious people. They do a few things, like if they promise they try to keep it. Okay. And they don't cross their credit limits, things like that. They are usually more organized in their work and all of these. So these come in a whole train. If we start organizing our places, organizing our work, organizing even our room, and try to keep our promises, try not to cross the credit limit, all of these go on to make us more conscientious people. And with such frame of mind, we then can choose more of shreyas than prayers. Okay. A life more of virtues, which are apparently not so pleasant, but it takes time to appreciate the life of virtues. Okay. So this is what it boils down to. That the takeaway points is that Shiva and prayer, we have to think about them rightly, how both of them can bind us, how both of them can appear mixed up, and what are the tools we need to distinguish which is pleasant and which is good and which is ultimate good. Okay, all of these, and as much as possible trying to live a life of conscientiousness. These are the I would say the most important message of Shreya and prayer. And Nachiketa showed such a quality that he chose better options, questions which cannot be answered by anyone other than people like Yama. So he chose to get his answer. So he could show his self-control. He could delay. Actually, he was delaying gratification. He is quite very intelligent. He said, since I have met you, look, he said, since I have met you, oh Yama, there's no doubt that I will have a long life. Okay. I would have a long life. There's no doubt about this. So he was delaying that part. But now you tell me the most important question, that is there a soul which survives death? Okay. So Shreya and prayer. With this, I end the. I did too much, probably 3 classes on Shreya and prayer. What I will do is I will give a summary of this, very one-page summary of all the important points of Shreya and prayer, so that you can keep handy with it. Okay, and try to understand this Katha Upanishad through the lens of Shreya and prayer. So every Upanishad has a unique style, and or even say some unique message which we don't get in other Upanishads. And interestingly, those unique things of any Upanishad can be the master key to understand that Upanishad. Okay, so Shreya and prayer can be the master key to understand Katha Upanishad. We can even say that the entire Katha Upanishad was built around the idea of Shreya and prayer. Okay, this is the beauty of all the Upanishads. If we can find out the secret key, so the Upanishad really talks to us. Otherwise, it is just reading the mantras and translating and commentaries and all of it. We lose the whole sight of the Upanishad, and we miss the essence of the Upanishad. What is the central message of the Upanishad? Okay. All right. Any question about Shreya and prayer?
Yes, Maharaj. I was thinking in terms of the gunas also. In Bhagavad Gita, they talk about guna, sattva, rajas, and also gunatita, going beyond.
Yes,
So
yes,
Shreyas is like gunatita, is going beyond.
yes, yes.
And
yes.
then how does one even do that? How does one go beyond Shreyas, Maharaj?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All the spiritual practices are for us.
Okay.
Taking us from prayer to Shreya, from Shreya to Nishreyas. This is the whole spiritual life. All the spiritual practices. That's why if you see any spiritual path, Kena Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, any Mundaka Upanishad, there will be a set of virtues which will be told at last. And those are the moral virtues, so that we can go from prayer to Shreya. But prayer life is not the all. We have a even further, very core spiritual practice. Okay, that will take us to Nishreyas.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any idea or anything you would like to share? For example, yes.
I just wanted to say, in thinking of the middle way,
Yeah.
Buddha's middle way, sometimes I think pleasure is very important because it helps me ease into more good.
Yes.
If I use pleasure to help me find relief when I'm pushing myself too hard with good, then
Yes.
it actually can be a catalyst to help me go do more good when I get enough relief from
Yes.
kind of an over trying to do good.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Theoretically, you would always say that live a life of share, but practically speaking, that we need pleasure, for the organism, for the sake of this creature, we are embodied. We cannot deny this fact. We are embodied creatures, and the creature, at creature level, we need a few pleasures which are kind of need. But the point is, don't get stuck there. Okay. Never think that these are all enough. These are everything. That is the point. Don't take the two extreme point that, yeah, well, this is not, these are nothing, or even the extreme, these are everything. No, no. We have to see that what is binding us, which is not helping us, and gradually can we go beyond them. Yes.
Yes, Maharaj, I was just thinking that as you have just now, you told that we should not take anything, we have to discriminate what is binding us actually. Any way is not the final way for me. As Sri Ramakrishna in the Kathamrita, he said that he gave the example of King Janaka, who was a great king and flawless absolutely in his how he was conducting his everything in as a king, but he was a great spiritual person also, illumined person. So he gave the example of Janaka Raja that you keep both the things. You cannot discard the worldly. You are in the world, so that you cannot discard, but you yourself. Whatever you are longing for, you are asking for, that should also be go simultaneously with that. To do that is definitely a great practice or a great job for that. That is the main thing. As you said, that we should not stick to one thing. Discrimination has to be there.
You know what? If we have the whole bird's eye view of the entire evolution of my soul, from where I was to where I want to go, if the whole picture, if we keep a bird's eye view, then all of these become easier. That what is pleasant and what is good, what is hurting me, what is ultimately not taking me towards progress. These are only possible only if we keep the spiritual perspective. Otherwise things will become quite shaky if we don't consider the spiritual dimension. We'll be stuck in a two-dimensional world where there will be always this share is good and prayer is bad, as if this kind of dichotomy. It's not like that. Even share prayer, both come with mixed things, And moreover, we don't have to be stuck in either of them. Both are needed for functional things. We have to do functional roles. We have responsibilities. So we have to assume identities and all the moral virtues that are required for a good citizen. We have to play all those roles. But at the same time, we don't have to hold them too tightly, as if these are written in stones. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we end here. I have another class at 7:30 for a group around Folsom. They want to get inspiration for meditation. And actually, I will start from here. How would I start them? That how meditation helps us in all the three sections, in the prayer, the Shreya, and Nishreyash. Okay. So with that, I will start them. And with that also I end here. Okay, we can take up. I know one of you, maybe Preeti or Gina, you had asked the question why I say that Patanjali's formula that when there is a tendency, try to counterbalance it with a positive tendency, right? This is what Patanjali said. Vitarka badhane patipaksha bhavana. When you have a negative feeling, negative thought, try to replace that with a positive one. I said it's not that simple. Okay, and it is not sometimes that effective. That point, that why it is not, I would take up probably in our next class. Okay, or sometime. Just remind me that. Okay, thanks all of you for giving me a patient hearing. Okay, from next time we shall really go into next verses. Okay.
Thank you, Swami. Have a nice
Maharaj.
day.
Thank
Pranam.
you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Pranam.
Pranams, Maharaj. Thank you, Swami. Bye.
Tomorrow is
Thank you,
Janmashtami.
Swami.
Yes, tomorrow is Janmashtami, Krishna
Yes.
Puja. Those who want to attend, please come at
Okay.
7:30. Outdoor, then indoor. Okay. Wonderful music. Gautam Gandhi will sing. Ujjal will sing. Our choir will sing. Yeah, wonderful. Janmashtami. All right. So let's say Shanti, Shanti. Just a minute together and log off. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Have a good weekend. See you. Oh, sorry. There's no class next Friday. Okay. I have 2 guest swamis. I have to be with them. So no class next Friday.